Hello. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate. Wow, I said hello. This isn't 1930s Britain. Oh, well, we'll run with it. Guys, welcome back to the Weekly Armchair Sports Talk. It's host for the night. It's Reece, joined by Stu. We're not going to be here an awful lot of time. Yeah, we will. We do as we please. But we are here for another fantastic show. 40 to 45 minutes. Pure banter, but talk football. And we'll be talking United, reviewing our previous game. Looking forward to Everton in the FA Cup, and who knows what else. Depends on the live chat. But hey ho, I'm wearing a hat indoors. I'm breaking laws, but that's the law of the jungle. But anyway, hello. How you doing, Stu?
Yeah, I'm good. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year as well, by the way.
But I didn't get around to it when I did the Mark's show. I didn't say Happy New Year, and I don't know why. So I'm saying it now. Happy New Year to you all, and I hope you're all well.
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks. New Year starting in style, but we'll see how it fades into the next. Yeah. Will 2023 be good, or will 2023 be shit? I mean, we'll find out. It can only go one of two ways. But
it can. I would imagine if you're Frank Lampard this morning, the last thing you want is an FA Cup tie against Man United.
Exactly.
I think it could well be Lampard's final match if we get the results. If he gets the results, he'll survive, won't he? But I think it'll be his final match if we win.
Funnily enough, I was actually going to speak about Lampard midway through the show, but you know what? We've already brought him up. We may as well talk about it because it is a glaring standpoint in the Premier League when other managers, and it's glaringly obvious because it's a media issue. It's been going on for a very long time in British football, to be fair, not just in England, but across Scotland as well. Nationality of managers really does dictate your position. And if this had been a foreign manager, for example, at Everton, they wouldn't have had as long as Lampard. They would have already been gone by now. And I'm not stemming the fact that it's Lampard, the fact that he's English, but there's some managers who have been lucky because they come from either England or across the UK where they're in a good job, particularly in the English League. The Premier League, for example, English League it's quite transparent, but in terms of the Premier League, you could be from England or Scotland and you could be underperforming for such a long period of time that you get to keep your job. And I think it has stemmed from the fact with Lampard that the fact is like Lampard is a respected English footballer. Well, he's no longer a player, but even within the game, he still has that level of respect. But it's clear from the media standpoint that they will choose to disregard that and defend him, give him as much time as he wants. Whereas the Everton fan base are at the point where they just want change. Like vast majority that I've seen anyway want change. But what, in terms of Lampard yourself, what's your thoughts on that? And I know a lot of people are going to be like glaring comment of is just because he's English, but it's a clear testament when you look at other managers like Marco Silva, who hasn't particularly done well at Everton in the past. He didn't get a lot of time. He got the boot quite quickly. What's your thoughts on Lampard and the situation as well? And do you think his nationality is actually dictating his situation at the minute?
Well, I think who he is 100% dictating the situation that he survives. It's quite clear that if he was at Chelsea doing what he was doing now, he wouldn't be. Chelsea are ruthless. I don't think Everton can afford to be as ruthless anymore because they're just burning through cash. They've been burning through cash for years. Through cash with this new stadium. If you fire somebody, are you then, you've got to pay another 12, 13, 14 million quid out, depending on what his contract is.
Absolutely.
And if you can't get somebody like Thomas Tuchel, if you can't attract him, if you can't attract the right manager that you want,
you've had it.
You've had it, really. So you run the risk of potentially being relegated. And if you do get relegated, you've got issues financially anyway. So it's one of those. It really is. I mean, Hella's got a point.
I'm just about to bring it up actually.
Hasselhuntl's available, isn't he? Could he
go
and do a job? I think he probably could. But you mentioned Marco Silva. He got very, very little time, and yet look what he's doing at Fulham. So it's a really interesting situation for Lampard. It's a massively interesting situation for Everton as a football club. And Everton fans are kind of wondering where to go. Where do you turn with Frank Lampard? They don't have any allegiance to him because he's never played for the football club. So there's no allegiance to him. Chelsea fans had a lot of allegiance and a lot of, love for Frank Lampard. Man City fans would kind of echo that, I would say.
New York City would be the same if you went back to the States.
West Ham United, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
So there's 2 points I would make. First and foremost, Moyes at West Ham is teetering for some unknown reason. What do West Ham fans want? Would he go back? But then you should never go back. You should never remarry. You should never revisit an ex-girlfriend. Not in my humble opinion, anyway. And do you just kind of stick with Lampard? It's a very, very difficult one. But if you're an Everton fan, you've got to really ask yourself, what is it you want? What are your expectations? Nobody has done anything, with Everton for a good many years since Moyes. Really, I think Moyes was really the last person to really elevate Everton. I suppose you could say that Ancelotti gave it a go.
I think in terms of achievement, I think they had another good manager as well, but they got it wrong in the end. They should have kept, in my opinion, Ronald Koeman.
Yes,
his first season before the extravagant spending came around, they spent in his first season. They spent, I think it was 60-70 million. They spent in Koeman's first season, which, to be fair, for a club like Everton, that's acceptable. 60-70 million, and he got them in the top 7. Highest, I believe that was the highest points total Everton ever achieved was under Ron Koeman. It was either him or Martinez. It was one of the two. But either way, he done really well. And then they went and spent 225 million in the second season. They sacked him because they were in 16th, and they brought in Sam Allardyce and didn't really improve after that. And it got horribly wrong. The managers that came in after that, in terms of managerial contrast, Solskjaer does have a relegation on his CV, but in terms of organising a side, he is far better than Lampard. Do I think he's going to end up at Everton though? No, I don't think. I think he'll end up somewhere else. I think that he would be more suitable for him, but it's not a bad shout. There's a lot of favourites for the Everton job. Wayne Rooney's a favourite, even though he manages a club that I can't stand, but I'm going to give keen plaudits on this one because he likes this team. Ange Postecoglou is doing really well at Celtic. He's actually a favourite for the position as well. But I think they should look to somebody who's already still within the league and just go with it. I think they should give the chance to Ralph Hasenhüttl, but it's not going to work.
I would give Hasenhüttl a go. I'm with you. I don't think it will potentially be the right move, but there's somebody who knows Premier League, somebody who could get them fitter because they're not fit enough, the players. They're not ruthless enough. They're not hard enough. They're not. I mean, we're saying all this, by the way.
Hindsight is key.
It could be a completely different game tomorrow night, but they haven't got the real quality that we possess in our armoury. As good as Calvert-Lewin can be on his day,
I don't trust him.
Exactly. He does it in flashes. He's like McSauce for us, isn't he? He'll do it in flashes. Calvert-Lewin, his injury problems have really been highlighted the last few months.
Yeah.
Or season, actually, really. It's spread over a season, hasn't it, with him?
I think the best way to describe Calvert-Lewin is just something that's randomly popped in my head. On one day he's like Gucci, but the other day he's like Diodora. One day he could score a hat trick, and it would be sublime. He would have full on Gucci. The next day he scores nothing, he contributes nothing. It's like wearing a pair of busted up Diodora trainers. I don't think he's all that. I know a lot of people like him, and I've got no issue with that. But I'm the same with you. He's inconsistent. He offers to Everton when they need it, but when it's crunch time, when you need more, I don't think he delivers. I don't think he does. That's my personal opinion.
But may I just add that for my era, Diodora trainers or Diodora quality brand, don't go upsetting Roberto Baggio, for example.
There again, though, that's Diodora in the 90s when the 90s was actually fun. This is 2022. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. It doesn't fit. It's a good point. Baggio was class, so I will never mock off Baggio.
Yeah,
But I do agree with this though. This is a fair comment. Like they shouldn't have got rid of Big Dunk. And funnily enough, I spoke about this because I was on a weekly podcast that I'm on that I do once a week. I was on it last night, and I mentioned Big Dunk. And the reason I said Big Dunk is because he knows what a relegation fight's all about. Frank Lampard, for all the trophies he's actually deservedly won, for all the league titles, all the questionable England caps he got ahead of Paul Scholes that frankly didn't deserve. Like, when you look at him as a player, I'm just mugging off Lampard. I actually rate him as a player. When you look at a relegation dogfight or a need to survive, he doesn't know what that is. He doesn't know how to do it, and it's clear and obvious. Like, not having Duncan Ferguson around him, who could at least give him pointers on getting a defence organised, he got it horribly wrong. And at least when Duncan Ferguson was there, he had a decent record. I mean, God forbid he got a draw. He got a draw against us that Everton played really well in. But like, you look at it, and he knows how to get them organised. Like, everyone says, like, the 4-4-2 is outdated. The 4-4-2 is outdated if you don't know what you're doing with it. He got it so compact. It was compact and hard to beat, and it was counter football.
The 4-4-2, everybody says is outdated, but actually, when you consider
everyone plays it.
Exactly, 70% of football is played with a 4-4-2. And if people are wondering what the hell I'm talking about, when you are in a defensive unit, you go 4-4-2 because that's the best way to spread yourself across the pitch. It's as simple as that. It really is. Mm-hmm. And that can, but by the way, the two is normally a single central striker and a 10/8 when
exactly
to take it. So that's what a 4-4-2 is.
They're all good points, by the way, Jarvis and Hill. You're spot on. Yeah, and I think the biggest loss Everton have done was letting Wolves get Lopetegui. Lopetegui has completely turned Wolves around.
Hasn't he?
Even a short period of time, he had a full month to train with the players, full month for them to assimilate them, and it's no surprise that clubs are now looking at Wolves players again to sign.
What about Emery at Villa?
He's done really well. And I've got nothing against that. I mean,
you've got two managers there that know how to set up a team and organise a team. That's the clear thing about it. They know how to organise. You can go to any dressing room.
I forgot another one. De Serbi at Brighton. I forgot to mention De Serbi.
Yeah, no, exactly. He's just come in and he's carried on where
better than Potter.
I think he's probably upped Brighton's output. Really, I like Potter. I like Graham Potter. I think he's brilliant. Mm-hmm. But you can go into any dressing room, walk onto any training pitch, and I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face.
Yeah,
players aren't necessarily, and people are going to jump on me now, coached. They're spoken to and they're guided. There's a huge difference between being coached and being guided, and all players need is a guidance. When you look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he just needed guidance on what to do. You know, I've been in plenty of dressing rooms, been on plenty of training pitches. The gaffers come and go, "Oi, Wooly, get over here. What? You're not doing this because you're there. I need you to turn your across to the right. That's all I need you. I promise you there. If you stand there, you'll be more influential on the game for me. All right, boss. I stand there and look what happens. You're guided. You're told. Footballers know what to do. They know exactly what to do when they get the ball. The problem is they don't think.
Yeah.
And we, for the past 18 months to 24 months, we have been guilty of not thinking in possession, not thinking about what we're going to do, not thinking about how we're going to receive it, not thinking about where I should be, not looking around the pitch. We'll talk about Casemiro in a minute, but Casemiro is a thinking man's footballer.
Yeah.
Everything he does is with his brain. His legs just carry him where he needs to go and create the end product of what he's already been thinking about and what he's visualized. These are the great players. Modric is the same. Maradona, people talk about his trickery. Messi, they talk about his trickery, but they're thinking first before they get the ball, not just getting the ball and just running with it. Yeah. They're thinking, this is what I'm going to do. Everton haven't got any of these players that don't have this thought. And what great coaches can do, and Ten Hag is really proving this to us. He's adding the thought to the game. He's adding I want you to take care of the football more during the game. And I'm still going to criticize you when you've had a good game. It's still not going to be enough. And that's the mentality of football. They're not going out there and necessarily coaching new skills into these players. They're not necessarily coaching anything new. They're not teaching footballers anything new because you've learnt it all. What you're doing, you're experiencing different things.
Absolutely.
And being told to look at things differently. That's what a good coach, one for the better phrase, does.
Absolutely. It's like the old cliche, but it always proves in football, like the quickest brain will always outdo the quickest feet. Like the quickest brain will always dictate the outcome of a game. The quickest feet just gets on the end of the ball.
So here's the interesting thing, and one of the best examples of that would be our good old friend Traore. When he came on for Wolves against us the other day, he didn't change the game, but his approach is completely different to what it was 2 years ago. He'd still attack you, he'd still push you, and he'd still penetrate you, but he's now thinking about what he's going to do when he gets there. He never used to think about that, so he'd race up the line, then he'd come back on himself, then he'd go back on himself, then he'd come back on himself. Very similar, and don't shout at me, guys. Very similar what young Garnacho does right now. He races in, gets his head down, races in, but it's got no thoughts. Traore's problem was, and our good old friend Garnacho's problem is, his speed is quicker than his thought. And he needs to marry the two together. Traore is now speed and thought are married together.
Yeah.
If you get Garnacho down that, you're going to see a real versatile, real great player. But again, that's Lopetegui telling him, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Exactly. And I think Podence has been a good example of that as well, because like he was the same, and I rate Garnacho a lot, and I think he has got something in there, like more than just fundamental talent. I think he has got something, and it's transferring from the training ground onto the field. Not many players are capable of doing it. He actually does do it really well. But I do agree, like there are moments where he could slow himself down and just change his direction, and he'd be more effective. But he's still a fantastic player. I'm going to bring Keane's comment in a minute, because that's very unfortunate. Keane mentioned Mourinho towards Everton, perhaps, but I think the only way he comes back to the Premier League is if Eddie Howe does his part and then he gets the Newcastle job. It just seems that inevitable Robson Mourinho link for me. I just think it's going to happen. Helen mentioned Deitch, not a bad shout, but as much as I would see him actually doing what he did with Everton as he did with Burnley, I don't think Everton fans are actually going to want that. I think they wouldn't be a problem with him if it was 6 months at the end of the season, then they get somebody who's more fluent. I think they want a fluent coach in now, and I get that. And Jarvis is spot on. Like the systems he's used, it is all fluent in modern football. That is literally what football is. It's fluidity really is key.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah.
But this is very unfortunate. Rate him, don't rate him, love him, hate him. I know there's plenty of people on this planet that isn't the key on him, and to be fair, at times he really can go missing, and it's like watching a ghost learn how to come back from the dead. But injuries like that is bloody horrible, and the tackle they got from Senesi was pathetic. It just sums up exactly the whole thing everyone says since 1978. The Argentines and the Dutch clearly hate each other. Senesi just loves to fuel that fire. And it was clear and obvious, because that challenge, like, if it had been anybody else, it wouldn't have been as vicious or as severe. He went full in on him. The way he bent his leg back, it was just ridiculously horrible.
So, do you know something?
Whether the game's soft or not, it's still like...
No, it's not even that. It's not even that. This is going to be really hard to articulate. But we talk about using your eyes and using your ears a lot in football. Your eyes and your ears are everything. Everyone says, "Oh, it's your feet." It's your eyes and your ears. They're everything in football. I can't quite understand why Donny didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
why he didn't. If you look at why he didn't see it coming, and there's an old adage in football, and there's two things you got to do. If you see something like that coming, you either got to take yourself out of the equation,
or jump,
or you've got to smash him back. You have to do it. Now, it sounds really strange, I know, but if you go in half-hearted on a tackle, you're going to come out worst. If you see some idiot ready to launch at you, you've got to meet him.
Yeah,
it really is. It's such a shame to say, because I like Donny, Now you've heard me defend Donny, and
I think he's a likable guy in all that sense. It's just not worked out for him for some reason that I just physically can't explain.
You know something? Again, how do I articulate this? I think it'll do him the world of good. He's going to be out of the equation now. He can concentrate on his rehabilitation, and he can concentrate on coming back the way that Donny van der Beek wants to come back, and not the way that Manchester United fans want him to come back. He can come back his own way. It's a tough one. I've been lucky. I never had a knee ligament issue, to be honest. But
I'm glad I've not had something as bad. The only thing I've had severe wise is just my back, but I've never had anything broken. Although I nearly broke my back 3 separate times in my lifetime. But
luckily you haven't.
I'm lucky I haven't, because I like running, I like walking, and I like playing football. If I ever lost that, I would. Well, I don't know what I would do in my life. But
no.
Yeah, like this is a fair comment. His position, like the way he wants to play it, like unless United can fully morph into it, it's true. And Sean as well. Sean was on the channel the other day as well, and I think it's a fair comment that he isn't good enough. And to be fair, you're entitled to own your opinion, mate. To be fair, I like Donny as a player, but I am of the same ilk as you. Like I don't think he is. I don't think he is perfectly good enough. I think the one thing as well is choice.
I think you can counter that. Manchester United haven't been good enough.
That's fair.
For the last 2-3 years, we haven't been good enough. So I would counter that with that.
It's certainly not. It is certainly possible, but I think when you have to look at it, is also choice as well. Like, for example, like the loan deal he had. For example, like he chose the wrong club. Definitely, Everton was not the right suit for him at all. Like that was abysmal. I don't know why he didn't go for Palace. It made more sense to go for Crystal Palace. They play more free-flowing football.
Housing. He stayed put, didn't he? He stayed at home. Didn't have to move.
Yeah.
It was an easy option for him.
Yeah.
I'm with you. He should have gone to Palace. I think Palace would have been the right move for him. He should have gone, and that would have been his loan. And what conditions does Donny get into the current best 11 at United? Well, I'm not saying he does. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is United haven't been good enough in the last 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he under any condition he gets in the first 11. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that because you pointed out that you said he wasn't good enough for Manchester United. Well, Manchester United haven't been good enough. This is the only season we've shown some kind of improvement and interpretation on how fans want Manchester United to play. So there's a big difference with that. And
that's also fair.
Yeah, you could argue that Bruno was there. I thought Donny was having a good game at Bournemouth as well. I'm with Jarvis tonight. I thought he was. I thought he showed something. He showed some kind of glimpses. But it's difficult. It's difficult.
I thought the difference between Bournemouth and the Wolves game before he got like just games in general, like how he was playing. I think the one thing that really was that he's off the ball work at times can be quite spacey, but I thought generally against Bournemouth, I thought like against space, I actually thought he was doing all right. It's just there wasn't anything else to come from it. If he had that, with him, it would have been so much more effective. I think that's the problem. When players can be seen and when players can't be seen, it's hard to make a fundamental judgment on a player, because then you're just basing it on what people are already saying on social media, which I try not to. I try to base on what I see, but sometimes it's not hard to fall into the same gap just because of that. But I think off the ball wise, I think he is good at that. It's when we need him in decisive moments, like on the ball, where he can provide something extra. I just don't know if it's tangible enough that I've seen enough. Yeah. That's just my opinion on him.
Well, you're right, but you also have to bear in mind, and Sean's right, I think a move would be better for all parties now, but that's now out of the equation. So he's got a chance to kind of almost reinvent himself. But you're moving from a fluid footballing team in Ajax, you're moving away from a player like Frankie de Jong Although he's as good a player he is. I don't think he's as good a player as he's made out at this point in time. He will get there.
Mm-hmm.
You got a superb 11 around him. A really good 11 around him, and he fitted in beautifully to the way that they played.
Yeah.
But from there to McFred, there's your issue. You're coming from there to McFred. You're not
so disjointed.
You're not coming from the Ajax team to Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno.
Yeah,
you're coming from there, and he hasn't had this 10-game streak that you need. You need to lace up those boots, put on those shin pads, and walk out for 10 games straight in the Premier League. Took Casemiro a long, long time, but it's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame with Donny. I don't think we'll ever know now, which is probably the sad part about it. I don't think we'll ever know just how good he could be. I agree with Keane. I think it was Keane that said he'd be unreal in the Bundesliga. I agree.
Yeah, he would have this. He would definitely have the space in the Bundesliga to do it. It's why I've always said, like, in terms of space-wise, he reminds me of Thomas Muller when Thomas Muller was at his best. Because movement-wise, Thomas Muller's one of the best I've ever seen, especially like, exploiting space.
Oh, he's amazing.
Generally just that good. But I do agree in terms of like certain leagues do fit certain players, and who knows? Maybe he chose, like, as much as I would love any player to come to Man United. The fact is, I think he may have missed out on a move that would have suited him in a league that fits him. I personally think he should have went to Real Madrid. Whether he got in the side or not, like, it fits him to a T, that league. I think the Premier League, like, speed-wise, is totally different, but it's more technical to his game, whereas the Premier League is technical, but it's technical with speed. And if you don't have that speed or you have that level of intelligence to adapt in the right way, you're screwed. That's why, like, many people initially wrote off David Silva when he first came to the league. I didn't. I thought he was fantastic at Valencia, and I was like, well, I can see, like, this guy, he is quick up here. Back obviously in 2010, 2011, he had the pace around him, but his brain was quick, and you were like, this guy could actually, this guy could actually give technical players, because there wasn't a lot of technical players in the league at the time. Like Paul Scholes was coming to the end of his career. That was probably it. He was at least somebody.
He came in with a mullet, if you remember. Came in with a mullet.
I was jealous that City got him. I'll say this now. I don't care if they got Sergio Aguero. Even though we were in for him, I don't care.
Yeah, David Silva was the one. And the interesting thing about it is that people are raving about De Bruyne at the minute. De Bruyne.
Silva will always be better than him, in my opinion.
I was about to say that, and I think Bernardo Silva almost filled the void that David Silva left. He just didn't quite make it. And Bernardo Silva is a wonderful, wonderful talent. He really is a wonderful talent. But David Silva was the buy.
Yeah.
Years and years ago, we thought we had it with Juan Sebastian Veron, good old Saber Veron. He came in for a very difficult time for him, and it came in at the time for the Premier League, and it came in a transitional period with Manchester United. You got Paul Scholes there. We've had the players. We've had these. You can cherry pick players from each team, really, in the Premier League, where players just haven't blossomed and shown. They've shown brilliance to other clubs and just haven't been able to do it. There's very few that can do it. Took De Bruyne 3 clubs, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Funnily enough, it took him to Germany.
Was another one. It takes time. So I wish Donny the very, very, very best, the speediest of recovery. I really do. It's interesting. No, that's sorry. We weren't comparing him. Sorry, but you're right. He is a different player, De Bruyne. Yeah.
I think De Bruyne. I think he is a class. I think he is a classy player. But like, if you ask me, who would I have between De Bruyne and at his best or David Silva and his best? Like I would shoot you for David Silva. I would shoot you like that. That's how much I thought he was fantastic.
I like David Silva. Like Silva.
But speaking of technical players, and obviously that United are obviously trying to be more technical in their sense. We do have like a couple of technical players of our own. But when you look at how we're going to play against Everton, one thing that has changed a lot under Ten Hag that definitely didn't work, and that's a great comment by Sean. I'll bring that up in a few minutes because you mentioned another player that's spot on. Last season, past couple of years, even like I'd say a little bit of times under Jose, but it just pillared through. United against teams with a low block or just hard to break down, quote unquote shit. United are shit against them. Like, we just didn't know how to break them down. This season alone, we've went through the traditional top 6. We've went through the top 10, done very well, point after point. The only team that's generally given us hassle in terms of a defeat is City. The draw against Newcastle. The rest of them we've beaten. But then you look at teams in the bottom half where we generally struggle. We cannot do anything. We've played Forest, we've played Bournemouth, played Wolves, all in the relegation zone, beaten them, dominated them, and we've kept clean sheets. When you look at how we're going to play against Everton, I think Frank Lampard, for all he wants, I think tomorrow, I think the best time for them is to try and not say get humiliated by Man United, but going through for Everton in the FA Cup is definitely something even though they do want a good cup run, they don't want a cup run right now. That first 11 isn't good enough to keep going game after game, and it's clear and obvious that the depth they've got is not good enough. So if you're United tomorrow, based on Everton's approach, would you just want us to dominate the ball? Or would you just think, because Everton are actually really struggling at the minute, would you just let them have the ball? So I know we've had this conversation before about United in general, about letting teams have the ball. We've been excellent with them without the ball in the past couple of games. So that's why I wanted to ask you, your approach on Everton. Let them have the ball because they're not in good form and confidence, or just tear them apart?
Well, you got to go and you have to go and tear any team apart if you can do it. Football's about winning. That's it. Mm-hmm. The be all and end all is winning. You have to win. So I think he goes first team. We've got Charlton on Tuesday, I think it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go back up. So I think we go strong tomorrow, and then I think whatever happens at the Carabao Cup, just relax and then take it from there. The biggest problem with breaking teams down is very, very straightforward. I talk about it all the time. It's called possession concession. You have to concede possession. You need to let the opposition have possession, because if you've got 90% possession, you're just walking, you're just going to go nowhere. You need to not even coax them out. You just need to let them have the ball. So when they've got the ball at the back, you don't chase them, basically. You allow them to step out 20, 30 yards. Once you do that, you can then get the turnover because you'll have the space behind. We don't do that. The Old Trafford faithful won't allow it. We just got to keep pushing. And you can be as quick as you like as a winger or an attacking unit. But as a fullback, all I'm doing is I'm going to push you wide. I'm going to push you deep. I'm going to push you as deep as I can to the byline, because then I'm going to absolutely suffocate you. And that means we can suffocate you in the middle, and I can suffocate you on the wing, the other side as well. By allowing them to attack you and giving them this false hope, this false sense that they can penetrate you as a unit, providing you in the turnover, that's how you get around a low block. So it isn't rocket science. And any coach would tell you that. Any Eric Ten Hag would tell you that. It just isn't rocket science. Yeah. But we liked it. But the problem you got then with a low block team is, if we lose it deep into our half and we can't spring on it, they'll just backtrack. I've told you before, it's a pendulum motion. You can come back to the unit. And once they get back into, and we had this problem with McFred a lot, and Wan-Bissaka and Dalot at the very, at times when they were playing, is that we would get the ball and we'd hold on to it and then we'd knock it back. Well, that's all right, because if you're a low block type of team, you think, brilliant, I'll just trot back now, get myself into position. I'm going to burst my lungs back. Brilliant. You get your breath back and away you go. And as long as you're tight across the back four, you're tight with your goalkeeper, the yardage in between your back four and the goalkeeper is minimal, and you're pushing the wide play as wide as you can. That's why you still push along a low block. So, and the other thing about it is, if you're a small team, we're not exactly a large team up top, are we? We're going to 6'4" 6'5" strikers. You can push the ball in, and you're then betting and gambling on your goalkeeper and your centre halves clearing it all the time. Yeah, and it goes back to you. Casemiro picks it up, lays it out wide again. Exactly. Lays it inside, you go across, and the centre halves are going. Connor Cody, when he was at Everton, was going, just stay there. Yeah, stay there. Just make sure we're tight. Make sure we're tight. He's looking around him. He knows exactly the distance between Pickford the penalty spot on where he is, and he's dictating where they are at any given time.
Exactly.
That's how it goes. It's one of those.
You see why I asked, though. But you can see exactly why I asked.
Yeah. Look, Cody and Tarkowski. When Cody was at Wolves, I made a case for him to come to United based on his organisational skills. At the time, we were struggling at centre half. I made a case for him to come for United, but he's not he wasn't a Koulibaly at that particular time. Koulibaly was the name on everybody's lips at that particular time.
That's
he's not Koulibaly. He's not a name that people want. And so, but you look at the way that they organise. They don't concede a huge amount of goals. I know Brighton smashed them just recently, but they don't concede a huge amount of goals. But they can't score. They haven't got any goals in them. Southampton haven't got any goals in them. And if you go 1-0 down, if Everton go 1-0 down, they're going to struggle because they're not going to get back into the game because they don't have necessarily anyone.
They only had one shot on target as well, I think, against Man City, and that was the goal they scored.
Exactly, So they can defend. They are a decent side, Everton, but for whatever reason, they're not buying into what Lampard's talking about, or they've forgotten the basics and the fundamentals of football.
I think there is something very tangible there. And guys, we have been looking at your comments. Like they are all fantastic. Keep them coming. The one thing that really does have an interest to me is Everton's starting shape, for example. And I'll come to your question in a moment, Richard, because you are correct. When you look at Everton, it's so predictable now when you watch Lampard's team. The minute they take centre, doesn't matter whether it be Iwobi from a central midfield position or it's whoever's playing as a striker. The minute they get going, only two or three players will actually cross the halfway line. At best, the minimum will stay behind it. And I'm like, if you really want to change your position, you really want to get a go at the league, where their squad is like West Ham when they hit 40 points and still got relegated. There is the old adage that you are too good to go down. You can still go down. This Everton team is good enough. They are way underperforming as expected. I don't think Lampard has it in him. I think if Everton really want to survive, they sack him after Friday. I don't think they will, though, but Richard thinks before Easter, and I think that's a fair shout.
Yeah.
Their run as well, like, it could be such a simple run for Everton, but it's still for them difficult to get through. It's like that confidence really will get them key. Even if they were to get one win, I still don't think it's enough. I still don't think this. I think one win will not spur them on.
I don't think tomorrow night's result will matter for Everton in the big scheme of things this season. I think you're absolutely right. I think when you look at the quality of footballers they've got, Lucadinho is one of the best left foots in the Premier League. We know this. We know the quality that he has. Yeah. Oh, sorry, or did have. He's gone to Villa now, hasn't he? Crikey. Yeah. The brain's gone. Brain's gone.
I know.
But
for the record, you're correct, Richard. You're correct.
But they never utilised him as well as they should have, even when he was playing with Everton. I know his pension. He's struggled, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has struggled massively. I'll let you carry on your point, but I'm going to bring up Sean's question. I'm going to let you answer it as well, Sean. My man, I'll let you do it. But Stu, carry on your point, and I'll let you bounce on this one in a second.
What my point being, they've got these technical footballers, but they're not utilising their skills. So their off the ball movements static. They're very stale when they get the ball. They've got, for me, if you're an Everton player right now, you're doing everything you possibly can within yourself to make sure that you, as an individual, are performing the very best for your team. And it's not happening at the moment. That these players are looking around, their heads are down all the time. They've got no oomph about them. They've got no real squirt about them. Unfortunately, you need that in football.
Yeah, I was thinking of in terms of the extras. I just want to ask this. There's one. I don't know if he's injured or they got rid of him. I haven't got a clue. But there's one player I just don't understand why he doesn't get picked for Everton. And right now they need experience in midfield. I don't understand why they don't use Alan. I don't
Well,
get it.
there are, you could say the same, I suppose, about Coutinho at Villa, couldn't you? He's been a bit part player just recently. There are certain players that just don't gel with the manager, or for whatever reason. I don't get it.
Letting Gomez go to France as well really hurt them as well. They don't have anybody who can pass a ball. I genuinely thought he was good. I genuinely thought he was good forever, and every time I watched him, I thought he was a good player. Andre Gomez.
I like Gomez, yeah. In answer to that, nobody. You should, if you get relegated, then I'm afraid, mate, you've got to suffer that pill. You've got to swallow that pill.
I think one player who is definitely going, if they do get relegated, is Pickford. I think there will be teams that want to jump in for him.
Therein lies the issue with modern day football. You're contracted an extra 3 years. You're culpable with everybody else in taking us down. You play you in the Championship, mate. Period. Done.
Yeah, that's why like Lingard had a 1-year contract at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah,
whether you like him or you don't like, you just know.
Or buy yourself out your contract, but you ain't going anywhere, mate. You're the reason we're here. You. I've got no sympathy, no exodus. There should be no get out clause. If you are relegated, you swallow your pill.
Yeah, go down and get on with it.
Yeah, exactly. Get on with it. Keane's right. Pickford will go to Chelsea in the summer. He's absolutely right. He would. He would go to Chelsea, but it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, I know you're saying this because you really like him, mate. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just telling you, I don't think it's. I think we'll end up going for more experience, or we'll end up going for Costa. Like that's generally what I think. I think we'll end up going for Costa. That's an interesting one. Everton couldn't afford Pickford in the Championship.
They could season one. Yeah, you could season one. They get, what did they get? Is it 45 million or something stupid like that?
They are definitely going to. How they get, if they somehow get out of this, I've got no idea. But if they manage to get out of it this year and they don't do anything next year, they are 100% going down. 100% going down. And I'll have them bottom of the league next season if they're still in the Premier League next year. I'll have them bottom. I generally do not think they're that good. Speaking of goalkeepers, actually.
Yes.
The last time I watched this guy play, he got injured. And that's no disrespect to Jack Butland, but the last game I watched him play, he got injured and it was horrible. Now we've signed him on loan. But it does free us up a foreign space in the league, whether because of the homegrown quota. Will we sign a foreign player? I really don't know. But what is your general thoughts on Jack Butland? And it's funnily enough, at least at long last, he finally got his move to a big club.
That's my thoughts.
Baffled.
I don't get it. I've never been a fan of Butland anyway. Look, I'm not a goalkeeper. True. I'm not a goalkeeper. All right, I've never been a goalkeeper. I've got
played in goal twice and hated it.
I know some very, very good goalkeepers. Close friends of mine are goalkeepers. They're nuts. They're fucking crazy. Just never interested me whatsoever. Look, are you telling me? Are you seriously telling me, right, that Butland's any better than Heaton?
No.
Seriously, is that what people are telling me? Okay, I'll hold my hands up and say fair enough if that's what people are telling me. But I don't get it.
I would have promoted a goalkeeper from the academy and just used them and just brought in somebody else. But
do you know what I would have done?
Just odd.
I would have got Ben Foster out of retirement. Had him back in for 12
months. Roy Carroll at 45 just came out of retirement. He just got injured again. So, I would have said him for banter, but that's an option gone. I don't think Butland is a bad goalkeeper. I get Keane saying he's a good goalkeeper, but it's just the fact that it's just.
Well, let me put it this way. We've been talking about.
Should have kept Sergio.
Are they certain players, are they Manchester United quality? Well, The question is Butland Manchester United quality? There you go. That's all I'll ask. So no. Sergio Romero, absolutely. Yeah, the best.
I was just about to bring him up as well.
Yes, Romero, the best number 2 ever. Is absolutely brilliant.
100%.
But look, there's just something there. But you're coming from the bench at Palace, aren't you? I don't think he was first choice, was he?
No.
And you come to the bench of Manchester United. Well, I can see the attraction for sure. When you've got Manchester United in your CV, yeah, absolutely.
We'll see what he does. I mean, he might play against Charlton, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that is a fair point. Romero wouldn't come back if he was.
Raven van der Haan. Now you're talking.
No, we're just no.
No. But Sean's point is as
a mad number 2, yeah. A horrible number 1.
Yeah, but he was a good number 2. But you got.
I mean, at least he wasn't. At least he wasn't a Taibbi. I mean, that's all I can say. At least he wasn't a Taibbi, but we won't go there. But in terms of that, though, just in terms of like where we're at tomorrow, general question: how far do you see United going in the FA Cup? And second of all, is that the trophy that you think United could feasibly win out of all competitions we're still in? Do you think that's the one we've got more chance of winning of, or do you think we've got better luck in either Europe or the Carabao Cup?
Our season is a fascinating point right now. I think if Ten Hag was to look at himself now, he'd be thinking privately, him and Van der Gaag privately, wow, I didn't expect to be this far forward today. And I'm working with a group of players I don't necessarily want to work with in 2024. So if I'm him, I'm already shaping 2024 based on what I've seen, based on what I know, and based on what I need. I'm shaping 2024. And I think if you asked him right at the beginning of the season, if we were sitting a genuine 4th in the Premier League, still in the FA Cup, still in the Carabao Cup, and still in the Europa League, albeit, playoff, I think he'd be absolutely delighted. I would think he would have expected to be 6th or 7th in the Premier League right now. That's what I generally think. That's what his thoughts would be.
Yeah.
So I think it now the way that we are right now, right at this point, enables him to really plan ahead. Really now start to plan ahead. He's got the foundations of what he wants. He can now really start to sprinkle the stardust that we've spoken about. I'm not talking about a Messi or a blah blah blah. That's not what I'm talking about by stardust. The extra few players, the extra sprinkles that he wants in the right places to really push us on. So I think he'd be delighted. Will he be bothered if we go out tomorrow? Yeah, he will, because he's a winner.
Yeah,
what I like about him is a bad winner. He's brilliant. He's a bad winner.
Yeah,
you beat Bournemouth 3-0, but you made this error, this error, this error, this error. We would have won 5-0. That's the key. That's what you've got. We haven't had these types of bad winners before. I love it. I love a bad winner. I'm a bad winner and a bad loser. In fact, I'm around football, period. I really am.
I'm the same. I hate losing. I love winning. I'm the same. Like I'm arrogant for it, and I don't care. And Keane's mentioned like Bazana's one of the highest rated young keepers. Yeah, he's a really good goalkeeper. I mean, Southampton have got a really good goalkeeper there, in Ireland as well. I think we'll end up going for Portugal's number 1. I think we'll go for Costa.
So Sean makes a point about.
About to bring that one up, actually.
So Sean, I said, I was asked. I was on a show. Well, a different channel. You may have been on with me, Reece. Actually, you may have been on with me. Anyway, I was asked the question: what would I see as success this year under Ten Hag? And I said a run of 10 games, a run of 10 wins in the Premier League. That's what we need to look at. So you're absolutely right, mate. I think I would take second in the Premier League all day long over winning the Carabao Cup. Because if you put 10 wins together, it takes you somewhere.
Yeah.
Where you end up, it doesn't matter, but it takes you somewhere. And that's the key to winning football matches.
I'm just going to sit here for, it's 49 minutes, 53 seconds on the clock. I'm just going to do this until 51 minutes.
Yes.
I'm not stopping. I'm going to do this for another 57 seconds.
Well, you carry on. You carry on and do that.
Yeah, by all means, you keep talking. I'm just going to keep doing this. Doing this.
So that's what I said. And I've always said that. A lot of fans were saying they want a trophy of some description. I wanted 10 consecutive wins. That's what I wanted. Are you still going?
Yeah, I've still got another 35 seconds to go. I'm not stopping. I am not stopping. I'm going to keep going. By all means, keep going. And Sean's right. I would love it if we beat them. Keep going.
Well, look, we've got to, you're putting me off now.
Fucking, my hands are killing me. I'll stop it. I gave her 40 seconds. I gave her about 40, 50 seconds. But it's good to see you, Rich. Good to see you. You're spot on.
That's what I said. But Jarvis again makes a good point. You need to
injuries,
tap into squad depth. You have to tap into your squad depth, and we're not quite there yet. I was asked. In fact, I wasn't asked. I went on the show with Mark the other night, and we weren't asked to do our man of the match. A lot of people put in Luke Shaw. A lot of people put in Casemiro, etc. Yeah. Do you know who I thought ran everybody close, and I only gave him a 7? Was Maguire. I thought Maguire did very, very, very well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't particularly like the guy or rate him, but yeah, I won't deny that.
And here's the real thing about a man of the match: you don't have to perform to an 8 or a 9 to be a man of the match. It's everything about playing football, doing the simple, basic things that people forget. And I thought Maguire was excellent.
Yeah,
against Bournemouth. So when you've got the way that Maguire's kind of playing at the minute, the way that Lindelof's playing at the minute, you've got then our big fella Martinez to come back and Varane to come back, which I think it'll be the Varane Martinez partnership, by the way, against City.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, I don't see Varane Martinez playing together until City as well. I think we'll change it.
Yeah, that's my thoughts, but I could be wrong. So I see that. And we've got that strength and depth there. We've now got the re-emergence of Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. Is Dalot first choice anymore? Interesting to see. Yeah, he probably is. But yes, I am. If I can get my ticket off Jake.
You jammy bastards. The lot of you.
I'm a season
jammy
ticket.
Bastards.
I'm a season. Oh my God, here we go. Another Anthony Greiser.
You see his name when it comes up. I'm staying out of it. But I do want to get this one.
It happens all the time. I'm going to tell you something quickly about people who slate Maguire. They're not centre halves. They've probably never played centre half in their life, and they don't understand it. And I'm going to leave it at that.
It's been good. Although I did see reports that Wan-Bissaka has been told that it doesn't matter how good he plays, he's not competition for Dalot, which I think is a bit of a shit in the face. But hey ho, I mean that's football. I think he's been all right, to be fair. I still have a little bit of an eye towards him.
He's turned a corner. My point being is that you've got Shaw at left back and Malacia at left back. You've now got Dalot and you've got Wan-Bissaka at left back. You've got 4 centre halves. Casemiro's the key. What happens if Casemiro picks up an injury?
We're fucked. Simple.
That's what you've got to really consider. Is what happens if Casemiro picks up an injury? But where do we go from there? And I think that's probably what Ten Hag will be thinking about in the back of his mind. This is why I think he's already pre-planning for 2024.
Yeah.
And whether he goes for somebody like Frankie de Jong, who knows? But I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
I brought this question up though because it was actually really interesting. So Sean's went, are we deep enough to go far in all three? FA Cup and the Europa and still finish where we want in the league?
No, not at the minute.
Not yet. No, I agree.
Not at the minute. No, there's a short answer to that. I wish we were, but not at the minute.
Yeah, and obviously Hella's commenting. Yeah,
that's what I didn't want to get into, but she was right. I didn't want to get in, but Hella's right.
Yeah, and Keane, I know for a fact Keane did actually phone the ticket office because he was actually getting really annoyed about the website and trying to get his ticket. I think Dalot will start, but
he has. Look, I you know me, guys.
Really.
I'm not a huge Dalot fan. I don't think he can defend. His positional play defensively isn't great. Offensively, he's better than Wan-Bissaka. If you could meld the two together, you've got almost the perfect fullback, but you can't. But what I was getting at is we've got. With Wan-Bissaka coming back, you've got 2 options now.
Yeah.
And you've got the same with Shaw and Malacia. But the starting 11, it's Dalot and it's Shaw.
Yeah. And I was actually going to ask you that because we were going to go for a couple more minutes, but I'm going to get you this now before we do wrap up. Is in general, for tomorrow, my starting 11 doesn't really matter. But what's yours? What's your score prediction? And the same for everyone in the live chat. Don't be stingy with your names. I want to see some proper bangers in there.
I was, Jarvis, I was just talking about an individual performance. There are some times you don't have to stick your head above the parapet to be man of the match in football. It's just things that you do and things that the way that you play yourself into a game. I think Maguire has played himself back into some kind of form, which had been absolutely drained from him with this agenda. That's why I was kind of going on. I looked at him and I thought he's getting somewhere close to his best. It's just the way that I look at it. What would I do team-wise?
And that's also a fair comment, Sean. I do agree.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. What would I do team-wise? Difficult. I think I'll probably start with De Gea. I suppose you've got him. Wan-Bissaka. I'll go with Lindelof and Maguire again. Malacia. Casemiro. Fred. I'll drop Bruno. Put Eriksen in. I'll drop Bruno. I'll put Eriksen
was listening. My wee brother came into my room, so
don't
want him on camera at all.
I'd start with Garnacho.
Ooh, nice.
I'd start with Martial again, and I'll get Anthony back in if he's not injured. I don't know if he's injured or not. And then that's what I would do. Score-wise, I'd like to go 3-0, but I think it'll be 2.
It's all right. It's not too bad. I mean, for me, I'm not personally bothered what the score is as long as we win, but I wouldn't mind another clean sheet. But I actually like the idea of Eriksen in the 10 role, to be fair. Make changes.
Sancho, I don't think anybody knows.
He isn't one of them for me. I don't think he'll play against Everton, but I do think he might play against Charlton. Just give him
Is he back training with the squad, or is he still training by himself?
I think he is back in training with the squad, yeah. But I hope we do get a run and we just put goals past him. I know Keane wants a Rashford hat-trick and he wants 4-0. To be fair, that wouldn't be a bad thing. But I'm the same inkling as you. Like, we can sometimes be our worst enemy. We may not score a lot of goals, but genuinely, I think 2-0 is probably enough. Like, to be fair, 1-0 for us is enough anyway. Not a bad idea. I wouldn't play him against Charlton. I don't think we need to play him against Charlton, but Charlton are taking the piss at everybody.
Yeah, he won't play against Charlton. You couldn't disagree with that. Yeah.
I would say I would just play him against Everton just because Everton, no disrespect to Charlton in this sense, but Everton are a Premier League side. We should be keeping our best players against the Premier League opposition. If it's against Charlton, I'm not taking any snide comments towards Charlton at all, but we don't need Casemiro to play against Charlton in any shape or form. We don't need him. And yeah, Richard's spot on. And was waiting for this. At least he's not starting on me for a change. He's coming after you. So, go.
What do you say to that? What do you say to that?
No idea.
No, me neither, mate. Me neither. I'm sure he's...
You can stick it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's all right, old Trevor Wade. But
would Everton be a game for Savage or Iqbal at least coming on? I would play Iqbal again. He's been in the squad pretty much every game recently. I would play Iqbal. I don't think that's a bad shout, Jarvis, at all. I don't think that's a bad shout.
We haven't seen him for a while, though, have we?
He hasn't played games. He's just been on the bench.
Yeah, we haven't seen him for a while. He's beefed up, though. He looks bigger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He looks bigger.
I think it'd be a good game to stick him in.
He's cut his hair as well, hasn't he?
I reckon he could take on Iwobi and put him on his arse. Like, no joke. I reckon he could put Iwobi on his arse.
Do you think? As long as he doesn't do a round the world turn, I'll we'll be okay.
Jeez.
I know. I went in with that, to be fair.
It's not always the best thing. It's not always the best, but it does certainly happen. But anyway, we have gone for an hour. 15 minutes longer than I actually had thought, but you know what? If you're in good company, fuck it, keep going. But
the City match is on. I want to see Chelsea do City.
I don't think Chelsea even know how to do a goal, like a genuine goal. The best thing about Elanga this season has been his world-class haircut. I'm going to end it on that, because that is just pure gold.
But Everton would be a good move for him, by the way, as a loan. Be a very good move for him.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute blast. It's good to be back on the channel. You will see me again for your own pain on Saturday for the weekly Armchair Doing It's Steel Chair show, because obviously it's had a little break, but I'm coming back, getting back to work. But if you're into wrestling, join me on Saturday. If you want to be on it, let me know. We'd have a good rapport with that one, obviously. Lots of fun. A little bit of a tribute show on Saturday as well, which we'll explain. And yeah, Sean, EC dub. But in the light of that, thanks all for watching, and good to see you all. First show hosting of 2023. But what else can I say? Up the fucking Reds, fuck Liverpool, and trophies here we come. Let's find out. Bye, guys.
Yeah.